Max, it's
Okay.
great seeing you again, my man. How you doing?
Yeah, great to reconnect, Josh. Yeah, all well here, busy as ever, as you always say. But yeah, great to speak to you.
It's great to have you on the AI in recruiting podcast here. I know our other friend Ryan Frampton, my co-host here, is just away on vacation, enjoying some beautifully warm weather down in Curacao. I'm very jealous because it is snowing and cold outside right now in Toronto. It's about -7, and we've averaged about 5 to 8 inches of snow per week. So it's been good. My neighbor has an igloo that he's building. Fun fact, it looks super cool.
Yes, it's just miserable and wet here in northern London in England.
I love it. Well, just maybe before we dive into things, Max, so obviously from the Ezekia team, but do you want to give the viewers a quick introduction to yourself, your experience? Because I know you have some great experience, not only in executive recruiting itself, but obviously working with executive recruiters with Ezekia there.
Yeah, so Max Woolger, I'm head of growth for Ezekia, which is a CRM and ATS for the staff or the executive search industry. We work with executive search firms and in-house exec recruiting teams at corporates and PE and VC firms. And my background, I started off in technology sales, PR tech, and then I moved after a couple of years into recruitment. And I wasn't a brilliant researcher, and then moved very quickly into kind of business development in executive search. So for basically 8, 9 years, worked for three different global search firms, reporting into the founders, running business development, data, and CRM. So I've used a lot of our competing products, so I know the market very well. And then for the last 2 years, I've been at Ezekia, selling back into that market. And it's been great, yeah, because I can talk the language, I sort of roughly understand, or but I hopefully deeply understand what some of our customers are going through, and so yeah, it's a good role for me.
I love that. No, and it's been awesome getting to work with the Ezekiel team. And I know, Max, you and I have been speaking together for quite a few months here together as we continue to do this. As you've kind of been transitioning through being a recruiter, BD, to now selling to recruiters, how have you been seeing the role of recruiting in general evolve, especially with new instances like AI coming in?
I think when I first started, LinkedIn was there. Perhaps wasn't as smart and quick as it is today. And we did have CRMs, but again, they were much more clunky. They were what's called systems of record. So you literally just put data in, stored it there, and that was it. And now I think what we see is a much more integrated way of working with lots of third-party tools, bit of automation, a little bit of AI, and with people much more aware of how important technology is in their day-to-day jobs than before. And I think before it was all, I think the senior people could perhaps get away with saying, I've been doing this for many years, I've got all these relationships, I know what I'm doing, I won't have to do half this stuff. And now we're seeing more and more of these senior people dipping their toes into some of these technologies, these processes, these ways of working, because they're making life quicker, simpler, easier, more sophisticated. They're helping generate revenue and all that sort of stuff. So some of the things that Ezekia's spending time on, things like parsing and CVs, getting smarter and putting AI around that. Org structures, big problem in executive search for so long. Trying to map out companies. We've now got a solution for that, and we're hopefully going to supplement that with third-party information automatically rather than make it entirely manually data entered. And I think business development, I've always felt that delivery is a bit more scientific. I think it's what is the market, who's in the market, what do they earn, what do they require, what are their what are their qualifications and soft skills and hard skills, and does that fit to a role? There's definitely lots of human in that engagement, but it is a bit more cookie cutter. Business development is as much of an art as it is a science. It's not just send an email 3 times a week saying this specific stuff and you're going to get work. There's a lot more to it than that. And again, Ezekiel is trying to bridge that art science gap as well with various things that are coming down the track in the next 3 to 6 months.
That's awesome. Yeah, and I know even just speaking with a lot of our mutual clients and just a lot of firms out there as well, I think some of the really interesting points I heard you mention that they're always asking for, especially around BD work, because we know pipeline is the lifeblood of any team that we're working with. How are you thinking of leveraging things like AI? Because I know org structure is a really big one that you mentioned there too, making sure we're talking to the right people with the right messaging and just that focus on the BD side of things using AI specifically there. I think that's a really interesting topic.
There's two main things at a very high level. One thing, we're doing something which I think is a trend outside of staffing in this industry, which is vectorizing databases, which is, Josh, as we said earlier, we're both not the most technical people, but what that basically means is you can move your database into a database that AI can be run over. So then instead of having to build queries and do structured searches, you can ask your database anything. How many candidates did I place last week in Boston? How many people did John add to the database 2 weeks ago? You can ask anything of your data and it'll give you the answer. So that's coming. And again, that could be BD related. How many meetings did we have last week with Barclays or Citi or whatever it is? So that's one part. And the other part is we're going to do something around BD Insights. So rather than just, we're helping you put this data in, how many emails, you add emails, add notes, add meetings, add tasks, you're putting it all in there and you can see them line by line. But is there any intelligence that we can offer back to the user? Like this person is your best contact, the person you reach out to the most, the person you know best, or across the firm, this company is the one that gets the most time, the most activity, the most whatever, and starts sort of structuring that on an account level, on a person level, or reporting on that in a way that helps search firms understand capacity, resources, where they're spending their time, where they're getting bang for buck, who they're over servicing, under servicing, where there are gaps in their kind of BD strategy, and where the good relationships are versus the bad ones.
Those are some really exciting pieces that you're mentioning there on how AI can actually come in to take away users needing to understand how to navigate, build reports, do things, and just prompt queries, and then AI can actually be used in the back end to give them those insights at a really efficient level. I think that's a super cool and very beneficial thing that users can have just to accelerate how they're actually leveraging a lot of these platforms.
I think the problem with I think AI's got a bit of a stigma attached to it, particularly in exec. So everyone talks about AI and it's so difficult, so easy to sort of say, oh, it's just AI. And I think a lot of search firms have perhaps sort of got bored of hearing it. What's the real value for me having this AI? What if it gets it wrong? What if it takes my job? What if it's just completely useless? So we have been very cautious with where we've put AI in and where we're planning to put AI in, and making sure that it's really valuable, it's really simple to use, and it's put used in the right ways and in the right places. One of Ezekia's core principles is simplicity and ease of use, and we don't want to go away from that with kind of overloading with complicated AI in all the wrong places.
I agree. And I think that's a topic that we've even heard so much around recruiters being cautious as they should be around seeing, could AI actually take the position that we have? And I know obviously the stance that Ryan and I have is AI is only there to make you more efficient. We're here to take the flat fixed cost of the heads that we have and see how do we increase that productivity by 30, 40, 50%. When you're speaking to your clients, Max, I know you're not only doing it from a BD side, talking to your customers, things like that too. What are some of the big things that you're mentioning to your clients as well around how AI can be used to help superpower them versus to replace, to your point as well?
With the way the market's going, I think there are great tools out there, People GPT for one of them, where you can search the whole internet, bring up all the profiles, all indexed beautifully using AI. And that's just one example. And so we're moving in that direction where we're finding a way that you can search the web, including LinkedIn, with very complex intelligent searching using AI.
Yeah, I love that. And I know that was obviously a really big topic for the original webinar series that we ran with the Ezekia team as well, around how do we leverage our database more effectively to even use candidates that we've spoken to in the past. Because I know there's so much of it where if you have a team, they're talking to 5 people a day over that time period, that's a couple hundred new candidates you're speaking to per month. There's always going to be that need to go external to your database as new people come into the market, they change industries, things like that as well. But what were some of the really big things? I remember we were chatting about how back when we did the webinar, Ezekia had put OpenAI back into the system to make it easier to do like candidate matching as an example. What are some of the other big trends that you're seeing around how to leverage your existing database, especially with integrations? Small little plug here with Quil and Ezekia together, making sure we're keeping everything in there to make sure we can even harvest our database more effectively, which not only increases the profitability of those places, but obviously decreases that time to fill because we already have the relationship we can use there.
Yeah, I think I was actually going to mention that. I think one of the things that is great about Ezekia is that you can search notes. Well, it's not much point searching notes if the notes aren't filled in, and if they are filled in but they're not filled in well. One of the great things about Quil is that all of your notes go in automatically, and actually those are searchable. Then parts of those notes can actually go in to fill in fields for you, like salary, for example. And I hopefully we'll have more of those fields as we go. And that's where I think AI can be really helpful as well. Is at the moment I suspect the way that I think I'm aware the way that Quil works is that the system understands what the salary is and puts it into the salary field. But as the AI gets better and stronger, I'm hoping it will be able to look at the entire note and go work out what is what amongst almost any custom fields that a customer might have and fill those in, and then allow better searching. And then maybe you take it to the other level. We go, well, actually, you don't even need to have custom fields anymore. Quil and Ezekia together using AI, actually, as long as you've got a person's name, their history, and the notes against them, there'll no codes required, because actually the way that the AI works, it will understand exactly how many years of experience they've got, what they've done, who they know, what their salaries are, what their requirements are, and you can do a very easy AI search to bring up all the right people in order of good to less good. Yeah, so I think that would be good. The other thing I think is really cool, where direction of travel again with Quil, is the ability to understand references better. Because you might ring up someone and ask them about a candidate, or, and ask 4 people, and you might do this for 10 candidates, and you want to understand which of those candidates got the best reference. And you could use your kind of subjective human brain to look at it and read it, but you could ask the AI just to get a slightly more objective opinion on those references and go, look, I believe this person got the best reference, but actually the AI said this person, so let's take them both forward to the client and let them decide. So these are the kind of things I think are quite exciting.
I love that. And just last question here, Max. I know you're incredibly busy with it, with a lot of calls coming up here after as well. The one thing I was really curious of, just from your experience working in executive recruitment, and obviously what you're doing today with Ezekia, how do you even see something like AI maybe reshaping how executive search is being run over the next 5 years? Because I know it's obviously exponentially compounding and growing as it's going today. Any long-term visions or things that you can see around AI specifically in executive recruiting?
My belief is the future of executive search is research will change fundamentally. It will be done almost exclusively with AI, and the human will be there to ring the candidate up, get them interested in the role, understand a bit more on the softer side and the subjective side, like who they are, what they want, all that sort of stuff. And then obviously then have to present them back to the client, sell the client, obviously win the client in the first place. So it's still a massive role for the human, but I just don't think you're going to see that many junior research people like you do currently in executive search.
Yeah, and I think we're even seeing similar trends within sales in general or things like that as well, just around how AI is looking to disrupt some of those systems too. But anyways, Max, it was such a pleasure getting you on the podcast today. I'll end the recording here, but if anyone is curious of learning a little bit more about Ezekia, where can they find you?
Yeah, we're actually just about to launch a new website, although same address, so it's still www.ezekia.com. Obviously, my name is Max Walden. I'm on LinkedIn. We're on X and all the other sort of standard platforms, Hunt Scanlan. So we're hopefully pretty visible, and we'd love to hear from you.
I love it. Well, Max, it's a pleasure as always, my man. Let us know if there's anything we can do to help, but looking forward to continue all the great work with Ezekia and Quil here.